So this is the Saber operator. As you can see, the front cover is off at the moment. On the top there's basically a setup switch if you want to have the gate run fast or slow. Right now it's set to fast. There's a little warning sticker. There's a manual operation that's on the exterior, so you can basically manually operate it left or right. And then power, main switch on or off. It's on at the moment. The whole thing is basically set up with a tooth belt drive and a stepper motor over here on the left hand side, and a pulley over here. It's got a little tensioner for the belt there, and then a limit switch. This is the left hand one, and over here is the right hand one. Unlike a lot of other operators, it has only one limit switch for either side, and then within the PLC programming it actually does the slowdown programmatically. You can see how there's a single screw here that basically tightens down the limit switch block here, so you can basically move that back and forth to wherever you desire it to be for your open and close positions. And then this main guide block is the bit that actually has a bracket that will either go left or right, and you basically flip it when you install it, depending on if your gate is left hand opening or right hand opening. And then the whole thing kind of moves back and forth. So right now it's already been through a setup cycle to show it where the end stops are. So all I'm going to do is basically press left, and then it will start to move. The vibration from the stepper motor is a little more apparent without any load on the block, because the block will actually vibrate a little on the bottom. So I'm going to put my finger on it as it moves across to show you what it would sound like with load, as opposed to just freewheeling. But I'll just basically press left and it starts to go, and then you can basically hear it when it has load, and it moves. Right now it's moving fairly quickly, and then you can hear that little slowdown right at the end. And then if we were to go back up and we press right, it has a neutral position as well, which is what you leave it in if you want to take it out of manual operation and you want to instead use a control system from an elevator. But this is quite convenient if you're trying to do setup in a shop or in the field without the full control system operating. So we're going to press right, and again it kind of moves back the other way. And you can hear that little vibration, and then basically you can hear the slowdown right at the end. Now if we were to go up and we were to press slow, then it will move at a slower rate, and I'll go press left again, and you can basically see that it's moving quite a bit slower now, and it's that simple. So those speeds can be set programmatically, so if a client wants them to be a particular fast and slow speed, we can do that. It's pretty easy, and even if you find when you're setting it up in the factory you're not happy with those speeds, it's basically just a USB cable and a small programming download, where you basically just take this electrical cover off the back with one screw here and another screw here, and you can open it up and plug in the USB, and we can adjust those speeds in the factory before you go out. And the fast and slow is really, if you're trying to do setup and whatnot, or if you just find that you'd like to have those two different speeds if you're doing installation, etc., that kind of thing. And then the cover just goes back on. You shouldn't actually need to open the cover at any point unless you're trying to do inspection or maintenance, because the limit switches can actually be adjusted without that. And then the other thing you'll see here is there's basically some screw points here for a limit switch or a gate switch bracket, and we have them on both ends. So these ones are just, they have the screws installed and they're just there for shipping. And then depending on what limits or gate switch you're using, we have some brackets that we can supply, or if you want to do your own, that's fine too. And we give you positions on both ends, so you can basically use this operator as a left or right hand. It's not handed. And you basically switch the gate switch from one end to the other, and that's about it. Okay, so that's the end of this video, and if you need to do the setup, basically refer to the manual and it will walk you through the steps. It's pretty straightforward. I just wanted to show you the operation.